Hey everybody, it's Ron from Pick Dawgz, and this is Ron's Rundown. We're going to go over the MLB games scheduled for Wednesday, June 4th, 2025. If you like this video, make sure to hit that thumbs up button and subscribe. Put your baseball picks in the comments section below. And if you're looking for my best bets, including my daily rundown best bet in Major League Baseball, you can find those at the Premium Picks tab at pickdawgz.com. There's also a link in the description. Alrighty, here we go. Here are the games for Wednesday, Major League Baseball. First up, we got the Rockies and the Marlins. We got Kyle Freeland and Cal Quantrill as the projected starters. Now, I think because we have a game here between two starting pitchers with pretty steep ERAs, that we can actually get a decent price on the under, and I think we do see a lower scoring game. Cal Quantrill struggled with the 5.84 ERA this season, but a 3.18 ERA in the month of May, including an immaculate inning in one of those games. And his last three starts, 2 runs or fewer given up in those games. He had 7 strikeouts his last game against the Giants, and he's facing the worst lineup in baseball in the Rockies. And then you got Kyle Freeland on the other side, a lefty facing a Marlins team that's been dreadful against lefties. They were in the month of May. They've been so overall this season. And Freeland's coming off a quality start, 6 innings, 3 runs against a tough New York Mets lineup. So give me the under here in Rockies Marlins. Next up, we've got the Brewers and the Reds. We've got Quinn Priester and Andrew Abbott as the starters. I do think Quinn Priester regresses as the season goes along. No strikeouts his last game and 6 innings of work against the Phillies. It was a solid outing, but a 23-32 walk-to-strikeout ratio in 50 2/3 innings, just not very sustainable in my opinion. And we've seen him give up at least 1 home run in 3 of his last 4 appearances. You compare that to Andrew Abbott, who's just on fire right now. He's given up 1 run combined his last 3 games, and all 3 of those were wins for Cincinnati. He's 5-0 with a 1.51 ERA. Even pitching at Great American Ballpark, he's got better numbers at home this season. 25 2/3 with a 1.05 ERA. I got to roll with the Reds in this one on the money line at Great American. Next up, we got the Angels and the Red Sox. We got Lucas Giolito and Jose Soriano as the starters. This is going to be the Fenway debut for Soriano. He faced the Red Sox at Angel Stadium last year and did struggle quite a bit, and I think he could struggle in this game as well. On the flip side, you got Lucas Giolito, who's coming off, his last start at Fenway was excellent. The previous few were not, so, he's been a little bit inconsistent when pitching at Fenway Park, and I think this is going to be a higher scoring game. It's an afternoon game at Fenway. I think both offenses show up early, and I think it's also going to be a competitive game late. I honestly think both teams could score a few runs off the other bullpen. So give me the over in Red Sox Angels. Next up, we got the Houston Astros taking on the Pittsburgh Pirates. Ryan Gusto and Mike Burrows are the starters. Now, we know the Astros lineup has not been anywhere near as strong on the road as it's been at Daikin Park. And I think for that reason, even though Burrows has struggled, Ryan Gusto's not been anything special on the other side, and I think the Pirates' bullpen's underrated. I think this is a spot where we're getting a good enough price to take Pittsburgh, a team that's been playing better baseball in their last 3 or 4 series or so. I know they have a big-time losing record overall this year, but I think they are playing more competitive ball, and I think they have a good shot here to win this one at home. So give me the Pirates on the money line. Next up, we got the Chicago Cubs taking on the Washington Nationals. We got a pair of lefties on the mound in this one, Mackenzie Gore and Matthew Boyd. Now, Gore is in great form right now. He had a 6-inning shutout against the Mariners in his last game, 8 strikeouts to go with it. He's given up 2 runs or fewer in 4 of his last 5 starts. And then you look at his numbers at Nationals Park this year, 30 2/3 innings, a 165 opponent's batting average is, excellent. 44 strikeouts, a 2.64 ERA. Doesn't always get the run support, but I think he will in this game. Even though Matthew Boyd's pitching well, the Nationals have solid numbers against lefties, better numbers than the Cubs do against lefties in the last month in team OPS and isolated power. I'm going to roll the Nationals in this one at a great price on the money line. Next up, we got the Guardians and the Yankees. We got Luis Ortiz and Clark Schmidt as the starters. Now, Luis Ortiz, even though he doesn't always get the run support, has done a pretty good job in his role in that 4th or 5th spot in the rotation, where he's gone about 60 innings with a 4.4 ERA. And like I said, doesn't always get that run support, hence the 2-6 record and the losing 4 of the last 5 games. The Guardians have lost 4 of his last 5 starts. But for me, while I think Ortiz has been solid in his role, I don't love him in this matchup because you're at Yankee Stadium facing a Yankees team that's just crushed you in your career. About 50 plate appearances with a 624 expected slugging percentage, 457 xWOBA for this current Yankees lineup against Ortiz. That's a low strikeout rate of 14% and a high walk rate of 20%. I just think the Yankees get to him too much early, and I think the Yankees run away with the win and the run line cover. Next up, we got the Phillies and the Blue Jays. We got Mick Abel and Jose Barrios as the starters. Mick Abel pitched really well in his season debut. 6 innings, 9 strikeouts against the Pirates. That was a 1-0 win for the Phillies. Had no walks in that game, and I think he's going to have a solid season. I think it's the right decision to move him to the rotation and move Walker to the bullpen. But for me, in this particular matchup, I do worry about him a little bit because the Blue Jays, against right-handed pitching in the last month, they've been very patient. They actually have the third highest walk rate in Major League Baseball against righties and a very low strikeout rate to go with it. So for a strikeout-dependent starter like Abel, who's also had some issues with his control in the past and his walks per nine in the minor leagues has been above 4 this year, that is a pretty deadly combination that the Blue Jays have, and Barrios has been in great form on the other side for the Blue Jays this season and as of late. So I got to roll the Blue Jays in this one. I think Abel struggles a bit, especially with that control. Give me the Blue Jays on the money line. Next up, we got the Diamondbacks and the Braves. We got Merrill Kelly and Chris Sale as the starters. Chris Sale's got good numbers against his current Diamondbacks lineup, but I got to say, Arizona in the last month really improved their numbers offensively against lefties. They've got a low strikeout rate, good power numbers, good OPS numbers. I know Kelly's not necessarily in the best form right now, but he still has a sub-4 ERA in the season. I still think he's a trustworthy option to start this game. And at this kind of price, I think it's worth a shot here with Arizona. I know they've been disappointing this season, especially with their pitching, and the bullpen's been a big problem. But I think the Diamondbacks are the value side in this one. I'm going to roll Arizona on the money line on the road. Next up, we got the Rangers and the Rays. We got Shane Baz and Kumar Rocker as the starters. Baz was just 1 out shy of a quality start in his last game. He gave up 2 home runs, only had 3 strikeouts. It still wasn't an amazing start, but the fact is the Rays have won Baz 3 of his last 4 starts, and I think he's the better option in this game. Kumar Rocker's got a lot of upside to his game, good strikeout numbers, but just hasn't worked as a starting pitcher at the major league level yet, and especially this year with an ERA above 8. His first start in over a month. I just think the Rays are too much here at Steinbrenner Field, so give me the Rays on the money line at home. Next up, we got the Tigers and the White Sox. We got Casey Mize and Sean Burke as the starters. Now, the Tigers over the last couple of years have done a good job at taking care of business at home and against their inferior opponents on their schedule. Games that they should win, that they're heavily favored in. That was one of the keys last year. The Tigers made the postseason. They went on a big run in the second half of the year. By the All-Star break, they really weren't considered a threat to make the AL wildcard, but they went on a run, and a big reason for that was the wins over the White Sox and, like I said, some of the losing record teams on their schedule. So far this year, we saw the blowout win over the White Sox in the first game of the series. We saw Detroit sweep the Rockies at Coors Field earlier in the year. I think that this is a good spot for Detroit because you got Casey Mize, one of your best options to start this game. Sean Burke on the other side with an expected ERA above 5. In terms of pitchers that have 50-plus innings pitched this year, Burke has one of the highest expected ERAs in baseball. I got to roll the Tigers in this one and lay the 1.5 runs on the run line. Next up, we've got the Orioles and the Mariners. We got Kate Povich and Emerson Hancock as the starters. Kate Povich at Camden Yards this year in 27 1/3 innings, a 7.24 ERA. But on the road, he's been a lot more competitive, 3.04 ERA. That includes his last road start against the Red Sox on May 23rd. Tough place to pitch for pitchers in general, especially lefties. He went 5 innings of 1-run ball with 6 strikeouts, and that one had an 8-6 ground ball to fly ball ratio. So, here on the road at a pitcher-friendly ballpark like T-Mobile against a Mariners team that offensively in the last month against lefties has not done too much, I think it's a good spot for Povich, and I don't love Hancock as a starting pitching option for Seattle. So I'm going to roll with the Orioles in this one on the money line for the full game. Next up, we got the Padres and the Giants. We got Nick Pivetta and Kyle Harrison as the starters. We're at a pitcher-friendly ballpark at Oracle Park. You got Kyle Harrison facing a Padres team that in the last 30 days has been miserable against left-handed pitching. On the flip side, you got a Giants offense I do not trust at all right now, facing a starter in Pivetta that does give up some home runs, but at a stadium like Oracle Park, it's definitely going to be a lot more beneficial to him. He also is coming off a really good outing in his last game, so 2 good starting pitching options with sub-3 ERAs, 2 offenses that have been very inconsistent and honestly more to the negative side in recent series, and 2 good bullpens, 2 of the best bullpens in baseball in terms of bullpen ERA. It's a low total, but I think for good reason. Give me the under. Next up, the Minnesota Twins and the Athletics. We got Zebby Matthews and Jeffrey Springs as the starters. We've talked about how Jeffrey Springs has been very inconsistent this year. We've seen some runs where he's had great outings, and like just we saw in the beginning of May, he went 3 starts against the Mariners, Dodgers, and Giants. 2 runs, 1 run, 1 run. just excellent numbers against some tough lineups. But in his last 2 games against the Phillies and the Blue Jays, he's given up a combined 10 runs in 8 innings of work with 3 home runs to go with it and 8 walks. His control's been a big problem. I know Zebby Matthews, on paper, his numbers don't look very good with an ERA above 6, but I think Matthews is the better option with a lot more upside to his game in this matchup, and I think the Twins have the much better bullpen. So give me Minnesota in this one on the money line and run line on the road. Next up, we've got the Dodgers and the Mets. We got Griffin Canning and Tony Gonsolin as the starters. Both these starting pitchers faced the opposition in the recent series at Citi Field, and both struggled in those games. Gonsolin on May 24th, he went 5 innings of 4-run ball in a 5-2 Mets win. Canning the day before that on May 23rd, only 2 2/3. He gave up just 1 hit, but it was 3 runs, 4 walks, only 1 strikeout. He's given up 8 walks his last 2 games. He went 3 innings against the White Sox and just 2 2/3 against the Dodgers. We've talked about at the beginning of the season, he was falling behind in counts very often, 3-1, 3-0, 3-2 counts, 2-0 counts. And while he was able to battle back in some of those and get out of some jams, it's still not a great place to be in when you're consistently behind in the count. It's just advantage hitter all the way, and especially against a lineup like the Dodgers, who have been so strong against right-handed pitching. I think Gonsolin has the better chance of bouncing back in this game, and I'm going to roll the Dodgers in this one on the money line at Dodger Stadium. And that's it. Those are the games for Wednesday in baseball. Hope you enjoyed this video. Again, if you're looking for my best bets, you can find those at Pick Dawgz Premium, and there is a link in the description. As always, this is Romanelli. Good luck.